Welcome into the 615 Sessions podcast on this Friday afternoon. Lovely to have you guys in here for another episode. Congratulations to you if you are a Tennessee Titans fan, not just because you're signing players all over the place, but because your long-standing national nightmare, i.e. Andre Dillard, is no longer a part of the team. There's a couple of news items that we're going to get to, but the main event is going to be Calvin Ridley. I sat down with him at the Titans facility today and talked to him after his press conference about a variety of different things. I think you guys are really going to enjoy the conversation with your new wide receiver who is here to help make things a lot easier on Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard, and everybody else in between. But if you needed a signal that you were going to be drafting a left tackle in the very near future, the news today officially from the team that Andre Dillard released, they are incurring a $10 million cap charge to release him. They are not designating him as a post-June 1 release. So they said, no, we don't want to wait around for us to potentially save money to go through the spring with him on the roster. Get out of town. Take your bags. We're going to put you in an Uber economy, and we're going to send you straight to hell. So Andre Dillard out. Mike Vrabel, he has a new job as well. Just a couple of quick notes, news items before we get to the Calvin Ridley interview. Mike Vrabel hired today by the Cleveland Browns in an advisory capacity. Personnel is what he is going to be working on. He is technically a member of the coaching staff, yes, but he is there to serve as a personnel advisor, which, of course, famously cost him the job, his desire to have roster control in Tennessee. Clearly, Mike thinks that he has got something to offer with the signing, but Titans releasing Andre Dillard as well, a massive failed experiment, as I saw my buddy Paul Kaharski tweet today, of which they should be ashamed of. Shame on them for giving 3 years, $29 million to an actual turnstile of a human being. We're happy to have you guys in here. Before we get started, need you all to share the broadcast around on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, which we always appreciate. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show. It's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're on Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left. YouTube, Twitch, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We would be grateful for you that way. 615 Sessions podcast is made possible by Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, get up to $1,000 on your no danger first wager. Terms and conditions do apply. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Getting some questions about cap space. Titans are taking a dead cap hit in releasing Andre Dillard, which should be noted. Now, they had banked on this. They were prepared for this, and the cap space that the Titans had heading into this offseason did also include the $10.7 million cap hit that Andre Dillard stood to make. They are going to lose money on this deal. They're not going to save it. If they waited until after June 1st, they could get about $2 million back. They said, no, get him the hell out of here. It's not worth the $2 million. Now, as Isaac asked how much cap space is left, I'm not going to do that because we still don't have all the details on all the contracts. There's no way for me to accurately answer that question. In fact, we just got Calvin Ridley's cap implications today. We don't have cap hits, 2024 cap hits yet for Kenny Pickett. Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett was traded today. A lot of quarterback trades, by the way. That entire Malik Willis is the only Malik Willis and your boy, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. They're the only two quarterbacks who were drafted in the 2022 draft class of Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, Sam Howell that are still on the roster of the team that drafted him. It may be the worst quarterback draft of all time when all is said and done. We'll see what happens with Pickett. Obviously, he's played in a Super Bowl. Patrick Bird says Dillard a June 1 cut. No, he's a pre-June 1 cut, not a post-June 1 cut, which means that you're eating about $7 million to get him out the door. But those two news items, thought we'd note off the top. The rest of the podcast is just going to be my sit down earlier today, about 4 or 5 hours ago, with Calvin Ridley. We got him for a good 20 minutes after the press conference today. I know you guys are really going to enjoy the conversation. I appreciate Bert for setting it up. I appreciate you guys spending some time with us on our Friday, or on this Friday. Now here is new Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley. where new Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley is hanging out with me in the Dr. Doom room, the Robert Brazil room here at the facility. My man, that was an electric press conference. Congratulations on your new deal, and I know Titans fans are happy to have you here.
Thank you, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so for you, there has to be so many different emotions and so many things going on, especially this being truly the first time that you've been a free agent. What was kind of that like on you and your family and your reps? I mean, I know it had to have been a little touch and go there for a couple of weeks.
Oh man, it was exhausting, honestly, because it was a good exhausting.
Yeah,
because man, those numbers that you hear and you're like, damn. It's kind of overwhelming. Honestly.
Yeah,
It's just really overwhelming, but it's a blessing, and I'm excited to be here. And thank God, Titans gave me an opportunity, gave me that call, and I'm just ready to showcase my talent.
So for people who don't ever get to see that kind of money in their lives, right? When you talk about the numbers floating around, what do you kind of do to keep yourself centered in a situation like that? Because this is generational, life-changing wealth. This is going to help you and your family for years and years to come. How do you kind of keep the main thing, understanding the money obviously is important?
All right. So for the first couple of days, like as the process was going, I felt okay. And it didn't happen. I just started feeling like overwhelmed or just very excited until the day that I got the call, and it was like, we're going to give you this. I was like, oh, my feelings were just way. So I would get on the phone with my boys, and I would tell them how I was feeling. They would just be like, one of my boys is very into, his mental and just being, at peace.
Sure.
So I was telling him how I'm like, bro, I'm all over the place. I'm just moving, walking right now. I just don't know how to feel. You know what I'm saying? So he sent me some music, some peaceful music, and I got on that. And
a little zen.
So just to smooth me out, just to get my anxiety a little down. I'm ready, bro. I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So I did that, and I just had to see my wife, talk to her, and just be like,
yeah.
Can you believe it? So, once we got past that and we got here and got up, it kind of the jitters started to go, and it's still a little in there right now, but I feel pretty good.
Well, sure, it's an exciting time for you, for your family, as you mentioned, and for all the people who have helped you get to this point. And obviously, your experience has been so unique to go through the 2 years that you had, have the year in Jacksonville after a full year out of football, and then to rebound the way that you did. I know it wasn't entirely smooth sailing in Jacksonville. That's been discussed plenty. But for you, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from last year specifically, once you were back into things and started to kind of feel it out again?
The biggest thing I learned is, no matter even how hard I work, I still got to take it over the top every time, because, my hard work, you don't see the hard work that we put in. You just see the game, right? I worked so hard, but sometimes it wasn't, coming to how I wanted to be. So after the season, I said, "Hey, I worked hard though. I mean, it didn't go how I wanted. I got to work even harder." So I just got to put myself in a position to, slow down in those moments and nail those moments, so that I'm not having regret at the end of the day. So that's kind of how I look at it. I hate regret.
Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley hanging out here with us at the facility. Just signed his new deal, just gave his press conference, and getting ready to do the full media tour after this, I'm sure. But for you mentioned, Jacksonville and having interest in going back there, and ultimately it didn't come out. And you mentioned your level of comfort. What was the thing that kind of lessened that comfort level for you that might have forced you to make a decision or pushed you in a different direction than you otherwise would have considered initially?
Yeah,
because it's tough to kind of have a bunch of stuff out there about you when you know how it actually went down, and the ability to set the narrative straight is important.
It was just more like, I was raised under in my first years Atlanta, and I had vets, grown men, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, very vets. You don't really gotta mess with them. They're gonna train, they're gonna work out, they're gonna come to work, they're gonna play good in the game. You know what I'm saying? So I was used to that, and learning from I learned all the stuff I was bringing to Jacksonville from them.
Yeah.
And I thought I had it. I'm gonna be all right. y'all tell me what y'all need me to do. I'm gonna tell y'all, and this is how I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it good for you. So once, it was just a little weird, and I wasn't, being able to do the things how I wanted to do it and all that. I was just, sometimes it would get me out of, get mad, and then now I'm like out of the game, and it's just something I have to deal with that I can only explain and make sense to me, because it was just things that, like I said, made me uncomfortable.
For you, as you talked about at the press conference, the Titans were in it initially, and then made an offer to your representation about that. How much of that did you want to be like dialed into, or are you one of these people that just prefers to, I have an agent, they handle the contract negotiation, you let me know what you think the best thing is, and then I'll ultimately make the decision. What was your kind of approach to free agency?
Yeah, this is my first time in free agency. My approach was, like you said, I was going to let my agent pretty much do all the work and all the talking, and that's what I did. He did all the work and all the talking. But
you're a pretty good agent.
Once it was all over, obviously I got on the phone with the GM and coach and everybody. So, but yeah, I had to let my agent handle that, because this is my first time in free agency, and he's the professional at that, and I just had to let him work.
What was the conversation like with Rand? You mentioned GM and head coach Rand and Brian Callahan here. What was the conversation like when you ultimately figured out, all right, this is what it's going to be?
Yeah, the GM, man, he said some of the things that just made me instantly like him.
Yeah.
He instantly was like, we're going to treat you like a man. We're going to put you, in positions to, that you want to be in. And, and then he told me a little bit about his background and where he was from and everything. And I can relate to him a little bit. So I kind of was like, I like him a lot just from that conversation. And obviously I came up here today and, we hung out with him for a couple of hours, and, it's really good with my daughters and my wife. So
easy person to talk to, Rand.
Easy person to talk to, and I really like that. So I'm excited to continue to see him every day or whatever, and get up here and start working, man.
Now, obviously, so early in the process, how you guys are going to go about things ahead of training camp and the regular season, this, that, and the other, very premature. But what about what you know of what they ran in Cincinnati excites you about the possibility of this offense now that you have Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears? You got DeAndre Hopkins opposite you, and this is all before they add pieces in the draft. What are the things that excite you the most about playing in a system similar to what they ran in Cincinnati?
I know they pass.
Yeah, they like to pass.
Right. I know they like to pass, and I know the two backs that we have, they're really, really explosive backs and quick. And obviously D-Hop is over there, but I think with those already, you can do so much. And I'm the type of guy, you could be creative with me. You could put me anywhere, and I'll do my best to make some shape, but I'm crazy excited about it. I love passing game.
Yeah, they like it around here. We had Callie on at the combine. All I took away from that puff was a lot of touchdowns. A lot of touchdowns good in the future.
And that's my plan. I plan to score a bunch of touchdowns.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you mentioned the versatility and the way that you're going to be able to now move around the formation and stuff like that. That wasn't exactly what they were doing with you in Jacksonville, and situation was different here. Personnel was different there. What do you think that is going to? Where do you see yourself fitting best within a system like this? Understanding that Hop can really be a true, line of scrimmage outside wide receiver.
No, I could be the outside guy, but you also just don't. I'm a route runner. Don't limit my routes either. Then I could be an outside guy. I could be an inside guy every night. I'd rather be an outside guy than an inside guy, but just don't limit my routes.
Right.
Let me run everything across the field. I could be a 4-1 guy across the field, is what I'm saying, because I have creativity to get over there. So let me run them all. Literally. Let me run all the routes.
How much can that help define the throw for a quarterback? Because this is obviously a young player in Will Levis. He's heading into his second year. He's getting a lot of support around him this offseason as they try to improve upon their situation from the past 2 seasons where it's been a bit of a struggle. How much can a player like you, who understands that route craft at such a high level, help define the throw for the quarterback?
Can help him a lot. But that doesn't just come from, practice. Me and Will have to go to the field. We got to go to the field. We got to talk. We got to throw. We got to talk. We got to talk.
He's a talker.
We got to be on the same page. We got to know how I like it. I got to know how he likes it. Most importantly, I got to know how he likes it.
Yeah.
Because I want him to be real comfortable, and he should be real comfortable because, that's what's going to make him throw that accurate pass and that, put that nice touch on it when he's comfortable. But we have to talk. We have to communicate and get on the same page, and, who knows what happened.
For you, what was that like with Trevor Lawrence? Because Trevor, a little further in his career, but I think Trevor was in year 3 last year, heading into year 4. What was kind of that dynamic like, and how much did that help you? Because, of course, as you mentioned earlier, Matt Ryan was a former NFL MVP. This is somebody who had a player like Julio Jones, who had a certain system and a certain routine and understood all the level of detail as a veteran quarterback to expect those things and to help his skill position players, I'm sure, understand the kind of stuff that you're talking about. This is how I like this route depth, this particular angle, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Me and Trevor, like once I got,
they let me pick the mic up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're
once
you're all good. I know it doesn't feel like a radio show. I was hanging out in here chopping it up, but yeah.
Once they let me back into the league, me and Trevor went instantly throwing. So we were trying to get, the timing down and, get the chemistry down a little bit, the first couple sessions were like really, really, really good. And so that let us know that, all right, we're going to be at least decent. So, And the same thing with Will. We'll just get right to it right away. And the speed, he has to see how fast I can run. He has to see, how I stop and how I cut. Cause I do it a little different than some other receivers. And, so once we do that and do it a lot, that's what you do.
Now that you're back into it, I'm sure that the 2 years ago, you barely think about it anymore, although it may inform how you go about.
Yeah, I'll never.
So what about it won't you ever forget? Because that, like I mentioned earlier, it's just such a unique situation that you were kind of dropped into the middle of it. And, of course, there's accountability there as well.
Yeah.
But for you, this is for every player that comes through this league, it can be cold at times. You find out probably who's riding with you and who's not. Obviously, your family is there to support you through all of it. But what did you kind of learn about the people who you had in your life at the time and people who may have come through that with you on the other side to help you become the person and player that you are at this point?
Yeah. When you go through something like that, everyone's going to show their hand now. Everyone's going to flip their hand around and, all right, this is what I got. So instantly I was like, okay, I see how it's going already. I see how people are acting. I'm gonna leave the season right now because I'm only hurting my team.
And this was in 21.
This is 21.
Yeah.
I'm hurting my team. I'm hurting myself, and I'm hurt. I am honestly hurt. I left the team, and then I started to see how people would be, good and bad. So some people would be good about it. Some people would be bad about it. And, honestly, I didn't care because I was doing something that I had to do for me, my family, and honestly for the team because I was hurting me and I was hurting myself. So once I did that, I went home. I did a lot of things, to, get better, therapy, everything, talking to my wife, hanging out with my kids. And that was honestly the most time I ever hung out with them before because I was always at work.
Sure.
Bro, I've literally hung out with my daughter for a year and a half, every day waking up, just chilling with her, having fun. You know what I'm saying? So once, like I said, I was at home and I'm realizing how people are. I didn't, I started just not care anymore because forget y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all showed me your hand. You were bluffing me the whole time I was around you. So it's okay. But my family stuck it out with me. They didn't make me feel weird. I mean, not one day. They didn't make me feel weird, not one day. And they just had the faith, man. They had the faith that, we were going to get back into the league. We're going to come watch you play. We're going to do everything that we used to do. And, by God's grace, he showed us that hand and he gave us back.
I personally am a big believer in therapy. I go to therapy. I feel like for men in particular, there's a stigma, and maybe that's gotten less. I know people like Kevin Love in the NBA have advocated very, very much for mental health and how much of a difference it can make in your personal life and your professional life, everything. How much of a value did that prove to you throughout the course of that process?
Yeah, man. I come from the toughest of the toughest of, my hometown city. I mean, if you walk down the street, if you walk in other neighborhoods, you gotta be tough. So once these things started coming on to me, I was like, oh. And once I learned and educated myself and had to spend money to educate myself.
Sure.
I said, everyone has this. I said, you would be lying if you don't have mental health. You would be lying to me if you told me that I just spent this money. I just educated myself to learn about what's going on with me. And I went and learned. You have mental health too, bro. And I'm not trying to break you down and say that, but if I have it and I learned the definition of it and all these meanings of it, you have it too. There's no way. We all live on Earth. How don't you have mental health?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a hard place to be. And that's what makes it a beautiful thing too. But there's no way you don't. You can't sit here and tell me you don't have mental health.
No, listen, I got plenty. Puff will tell you, I got plenty of problems. All right, I'm not nearly as bad as anybody.
But once I learned this stuff, a million people will sit right here and tell me they don't. But I'll sit here and be like, yeah, you don't. But in my head, you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What are you hiding from?
You don't have to convince me, bro. I have mental health sometimes. It comes in and out. I'm happy as I can ever be in my life right now. So it's not affecting me at all. But I know it's around the corner somewhere. But like I said, I use these tools I have. So if it comes back, I'm going to kick his ass.
You're prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Calvin, it's been a great pleasure to meet you. It's been a great pleasure to chop it up with you. Unfortunately for you, you're going to have to do a lot more of these throughout the course of the coming 4 years here in Tennessee. But I know Titans fans are excited for you. The idea of playing the Jags twice a year.
Man, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
We'll take a quick break here from the facility. Lucas will join us back at Bridgestone. Calvin Ridley, kind enough to give us some time. You got a message for Titans fans on the way out the door?
Tighten up.